Let's talk a little bit about Kyrie Irving. The series where the Celtics lost to the Bucks was not a good one. He forced his way out of town, wanted to be the guy. 4 for 18, 8 for 22, 7 for 22, 6 for 21. Not spring birthdays or summer birthdays. That's his shooting percentage in games 2 through 5. I think he really hurt his reputation as a big player in big games.
Yeah, I think some team, including Boston, is going to really have to look at it and say, is Kyrie Irving a max player? Now, there are a lot of guys around the NBA that make max money that aren't that kind of player, and you just go for that kind of player because you can't get that guy anywhere else other than free agency. But he certainly did hurt his reputation, and I think some of the things that are coming out anonymously about what his teammates viewed of him and his style in Boston, that's certainly not going to help Kyrie either. I think he's a very complex guy, Dave. I think he likes it that way. I think any conversation about Kyrie is very, very complex because on one hand, the reason why the Cavs have a championship is in large part because of Kyrie, because of the style that he plays, because of the unwavering self-belief that he has. At the same time, all of those different traits have led to kind of where the Boston Celtics are right now, early playoff exit, and where Kyrie Irving is right now, staring at an uncertain future where, combined with his injury history, his attitude, how he carries himself, the questions about his leadership, a franchise is asking themselves, do we want to invest that much in this guy to make him the centerpiece of our franchise if we're going to try and chase down a championship? It's a very complex question that does not have an easy answer at this point.
Kind of get this picture of, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum going over to his apartment with packing tape and boxes, kind of getting ready to help him go. Let's see where the odds makers say he's likely to go, and where do you think Kyrie lands in free agency?
Yeah, I think the most likely are one of the two New York destinations. I think what happens with the Knicks is, especially in the draft lottery, is going to be really, really significant. I think what happens with the Boston Celtics and whether or not they can try and pull off a trade for Anthony Davis is significant. So let's say, for example, right, the New York Knicks land the first overall pick in the draft lottery, Dave. That means Zion Williamson, and that doesn't necessarily mean Zion is going to play in New York. The Knicks could use him as the centerpiece of an Anthony Davis trade. Anthony Davis to New York, along with potentially Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Now, all of a sudden, you have a big three that's as good as maybe any in the entire NBA. That's a solution, I think, for the Knicks, and I think a workable one for all those different parties involved. So what happens in the draft lottery, I think, is going to be huge. And then the Brooklyn Nets are a team, Dave, that people around Kyrie that know Kyrie well have been telling me since, November or December, don't overlook the Brooklyn Nets. Speak to him on an intellectual level in a way that maybe some of these other franchises can't because of how things are run in Brooklyn. And I think Kyrie obviously has ties to both New York and Brooklyn area, Manhattan that is, and the Brooklyn area, both those New York places that I think, one, are going to have money, and two, could be very, very appealing based on other moving parts in free agency.